You can count on regarding more fallout from the Trump administration tariffs, as even more import taxes are set to take effect later this week. Meanwhile, during this tariff turmoil, and although we don't have a live look at the New York Stock Exchange big board, we do have our Rachel Knapp, who is standing by. As Rachel, President Donald Trump says he won't agree to any changes in the tariffs unless there's no trade deficit. But you talked to an economist that has a way of dealing with trade being unrealistic. Tell us more.
Good evening, Eva. So that's exactly how they described it. Economists say the formula that the administration is using to calculate these reciprocal tariffs doesn't make economic sense simply because they are not also factoring in things like supply chains, geography, capital flow, tariffs, and other non-tariff trading barriers. And one economist that I spoke with explains that these countries that have a large trade deficit with us simply cannot buy as many U.S. goods as we buy from them, simply because they're more poor than us. A White House official tells me countries like Japan, Israel, and Vietnam are having leader-to-leader discussions with the president, looking to make a deal on the tariffs the U.S. has imposed.
But I said, we're not going to have deficits with your country. We're not going to do that, because to me a deficit is a loss. We're going to have surpluses, or we're at worst going to be breaking even.
This is simply just unrealistic and just a very misguided way of looking at trade.
An economist with the Tax Foundation, a nonpartisan tax policy nonprofit, says a trade deficit isn't necessarily a bad thing.
When I go to get my clothes dry cleaned, right, I have a trade deficit with my dry cleaner. I give them money, they provide a service to me. I'm not producing anything. I'm not giving them, any good or service in exchange. Is that a bad outcome? No. I mean, they are better at dry cleaning, my clothes than I am. So I'm agreeing to give them money, in exchange for a service that I am unable to provide for myself. And the analog to trade is that there are just certain countries that are just better at producing things than we are, such as various, food products that we don't have, that we're unable to produce because we don't have, say, the right climate or environment.
He also adds, in most cases, there's a trade deficit with most countries because they're significantly poorer than us.
There's just no world in which Vietnam and Cambodia, for instance, to just pick two. I mean, because they have we have large trade deficits with that. I mean, there's no world in which they are going to be buying more from us than we buy from them, simply because they are poorer.
And Eva, the economist that I spoke with also adds that trade is really important among other countries, simply because some of these countries provide the labor that we don't exactly have here, and that we've moved away from mass manufacturing jobs for the most part. We still have some, and he believes that we could create more jobs in that area, but as of for right now, that we don't necessarily have quite the workforce clamoring for those kinds of jobs. Eva, back to you.